FEDGE presents Top 10 Mind-Blowing Facts. Fact number 1. Do you know elephants can hear the sound with their legs? Stanford researcher Caitlin O'Connell discovered that elephants can hear with their feet. She was supposed to find ways to keep elephants out of farmers' fields. While observing them, she started to notice certain odd things. Normally, they would hold their big ears out like a parabola and scan back and forth. But to detect distant noise and vocalizations, they'd freeze and lean forward and put weight on their front legs. Sometimes they'd even lift up their front foot, which register low-frequency rumbles caused by other animals up to 20 miles away. All of them would do this at the same time. It was too coordinated to be a coincidence. Elephants can hear warnings sent through the ground from other elephants, received by pressure sensitive nerve in the pads of their feet. This behavior sometimes occurred when another herd approached or a ranger drove by in his vehicle. End quote. On a most fundamental level, the research is showing elephants have a whole modality for communicating that we haven't thought about, end quote, O'Connell said. Fact number 2. Do you know bees can live inside your eyes? It certainly hurts when you get stung by a bee. But what's even worse is having the creepy crawly creatures live inside of your eye. That's what happened to a 28-year-old Taiwanese woman in 2019. According to the BBC, while participating in the Qingming Tomb Sweeping Festival, which involves cleaning up the graves of relatives who have passed away, the woman thought a bit of dirt had gotten into her eye. But when her eye swelled up, she went to a doctor who found and quote, something black that looked like an insect leg. End quote. The leg was attached to a 4 mm long bee and it wasn't the only one. The doctor explained, end quote, I grabbed the leg and very slowly took one out, then I saw another one, and another and another. There were 4 sweat bees in total. All were alive and had been feeding off of the woman's tears. Fact number 3. Do you know doctor found a tooth growing inside a man's nose? When a 59-year-old man showed up at the University Hospital Aarhus in Denmark after suffering from congestion and a runny nose for 2 years, doctors found something unexpected, a tooth. According to IFL Science, the doctors in quote noticed the patient's septum, the cartilage bridge in the middle of the nose, was bent to the left and there appeared to be a mass lodged in his nasal cavity. End quote. When they conducted a scan, it end quote revealed that the blockage was caused by an intranasal tooth that had erupted inside his nose. End quote. The mass was removed during surgery and after a short bout of antibiotics and nasal saline irrigation, the man's nose was tooth-free. Fact number 4. Do you know an ancient Egyptian mummy has a modern-day passport? When Pharaoh Ramses II died in 1213 BCE, who is also regarded as one of the most powerful rulers the Egyptian civilization ever had, 3,000 years after his death, his mummy had aged poorly and required restoration. His priests moved his body frequently from tomb to stave off grave robbers, so his mummy was in pretty bad shape by the 1970s. Experts at that time decided to transport the mummy to Paris, France, where a bunch of experts would work on it and bring it back to its original state. The Egyptian authorities worried that the Europeans would simply keep the mummy. Anyone who's visited the British Museum knows this isn't an idle fear. To give Ramses II some legal protection, Egyptian authorities issued him a passport, listing his occupation as end quote, king, deceased, end quote. Fortunately, he was returned to Egypt safely and well preserved. Fact number 5. Do you know a dead jockey once won a horse race? Poor Frank Hayes wasn't even really a jockey. He was a stable hand who sometimes filled in during races. On June 3, 1923, he won his first and last horse race. At some point while riding the 20-1 outsider Longshot Sweet Kiss, Hayes suffered a heart attack and died. However, the horse finished first and Hayes' body was still mounted on the saddle. So Sweet Kiss was declared the winner. Hayes, who was only 22, had been required to drop 12 pounds from 142 to 130 of water weight in the previous 24 hours, so it's possible that dehydration and weakness proved to be a lethal combination. Fact number 6. Do you know astronauts come back to Earth taller? Human bodies can do some unusual things when you free them from gravity. For example, without the weight of their bodies compressing the cartilage in their joints and spines, astronauts' bodies actually lengthen slightly in zero-G conditions. As a result, they come back to Earth a few inches taller, though the effect will disappear over time. Amazingly, laying down for a good night's sleep down here on planet Earth can have a similar effect. Though the difference is slight, usually no more than 1 centimeter, you're a little bit taller when you first get out of bed in the morning than you are at night. Fact number 7. Do you know the Titanic almost experienced a collision days before it sank? Just days before the Titanic struck an iceberg and sank in April 1912, it almost hit another boat. According to a letter from steward Richard Getty that was written on the doomed ship's stationery. Writing to his wife one day after setting sail from the United Kingdom, Getty, who died in the tragedy, mentioned that as the ship was leaving the dock, it narrowly missed colliding with the city of New York. "We got away yesterday after a lot of trouble and quat," reads the letter, which was auctioned in 2019. End quote. "As we were passing the New York and Oceanic, the New York broke her ropes and very nearly ran into us, but we just happened to avoid a collision. It must have been a trying time for the captain." End quote. Fact number 8. Do you know the world's largest blanket didn't even fit into an indoor arena? End quote. If you have someone in your family who likes to knit, then you've likely received a handmade blanket as a gift at some point. But perhaps the next time the knitter in your life wants to put their wool to good use, they could try to create something like the 21,472.95 square foot blanket that was made by more than 1,000 people from 32 different countries in August 2018. The record-setting blanket was so big that it filled the entire indoor arena in the Ennis showgrounds where it was displayed, even overflowing up the walls. The blanket was then divided up into smaller blankets, which were donated to the Irish Red Cross. Fact number 9. Do you know Japan uses sunflowers to clear up radiation? When a tsunami hit the Fukushima area of Japan in 2011, the radioactive fallout from the nearby nuclear power plant contaminated the land and water for 30 miles in every direction, according to The Telegraph. Even outside the evacuation zone, the soil shows traces of radiation, which can wind up in any food grown there. To help rehabilitate the land, Buddhist monks began passing out seeds for field mustard, amaranthus, cockscomb, and sunflowers, all plants known to soak up radioactive particles. More than 8 million sunflowers were planted within the first 6 months after the disaster to avoid it. Fact number 10. Do you know the world's tallest tropical tree is 330 feet tall and weighs more than a jetliner? On the island of Borneo in Malaysia, there's one yellow Meranti that's been deemed the world's tallest tropical tree. Weighing more than a jetliner, which is around 180,000 pounds, and standing 330 feet tall. The view from the top is almost too stunning to describe. That's what local climber Unding Jamie found out when he scaled the tree to get the official measurement. It was a scary climb, so windy, because the nearest trees are very distant, and quote, he said in a press release. End quote. But honestly, the view from the top was incredible. I don't know what to say, other than it was very, very, very amazing. End quote. If you love this video, please like, share, subscribe.